2020 and reflect. Shut the fuck. What is up, all forms of social media? James Joseph Edward Jesberger Jr., but please call me Jimmy for short. Today we have a different form of video. I actually have a script prepared, so I hope you guys will enjoy this, and if we'll see if I need to edit anything, but it's a long video and I hope you guys enjoy it. This video took 27 years to make. As we draw a much needed end to 2020 and reflect like we usually do for the new year, I wanted to make this video. This past November 21st, which is now like over a month ago, I turned 27, and it got me thinking that most people don't know what I've done, and I would like to remember some awesome memories, possibly some sad ones. I realize I'm starting to forget things, and I want this as a journal. In this video, I definitely will and have already forgotten things, but these are just some of the biggest things I can remember for some reason. I genuinely don't brag or even talk about a lot of things, and I finally want a record. I also want these recorded and put out there for all. This video is a compilation of sentences of things I've done over my last 27 years. All of these topics are true, and for this video, I will just be stating the sentence and moving on. For an example, if the sentence was, I was in a relationship with Miley Cyrus, that's all I would say, and you would need to wait for a video to come out on it. If you would like it elaborated, comment and let me know. I will probably be making videos on the topics and such as regular storytime videos and maybe a podcast. So, the year is 1993. I was born on November 21st, 1993. I was supposed to be a week earlier, but even as a baby, I was procrastinating. There are a few specific memories I have before 2005. Some include I was made fun of for my weight a lot, I had really bad asthma, and so many embarrassing kid stories that I will never forget, such as throwing up in front of the class, peeing myself in front of the class, crying for my parents almost every day, and not knowing how to tie my own shoes. In 2000, the year I turned 7, I was in my first play/musical, a school summer stock show as the mayor of the Munchkin City in The Wizard of Oz, and I still remember how it was to be on stage for the first time. In 2001, the year I turned 8, I knew since I was 8 years old I wanted full tattooed sleeves. Isn't that funny? I started karate and continued to do it for 7.5 years. I was in my second play/musical ever as LeFou in Beauty and the Beast. In 2006, the year I turned 13, I had a break from shows until I returned to perform in The Sound of Music as Friedrich. In 6th grade, they allowed 6th graders to go to the last dance of the year before they got to 7th and 8th grade dances. And that's where I also found my love for dancing outside of musicals. Also, this was the year I slow danced with a girl for the first time. 2007, the year I turned 14. In 7th grade, summer, I performed as Pumbaa in The Lion King for summer stock. I started to learn and play the drums for my group of friends. We were forming a band. In school, I asked a girl to go out with me and got her number for the first time. I had my first kiss, peck on the lips, on a trampoline. I had my first heartbreak the summer over AIM. Yes, AIM. In 2008, the year I turned 15, I quit karate after 7.5 years with my black belt to focus on high school when I graduated. I was in a school production in 8th grade of The Wizard of Oz as the Lion, where one night I forgot half the lyrics to one of the songs. My last summer stock show for 8th grade was Footloose, and I played one of my favorite roles ever as Mr. McAfee, learning so many monologues, and I can still perform his first monologue in the show to this day. I had started posting regularly on YouTube, but was quickly and ungodly bullied and made fun of by my friends. I joined the marching band of my high school. End of sentence. I started high school and joined every music and acting class and club I could do. In 2009, the year I turned 16, as a freshman, I went to my first formal winter dance with a junior. I was in my first high school production as nerd/ensemble for High School Musical. I was in my second high school show production as ensemble in Back to the 80s. I had my first real kiss in the back of my parents' car, my relationship, and the first time I had ever had any sexual intimacy. I started dating and started to explore as much as I could. 2010, the year I turned 17. I was in my third high school production as pool boy slash ensemble in High School Musical 2. I was in my fourth high school production as ensemble in Hello Dolly. I started to play drums for church masses and started to cantor. In 2011, the year I turned 18, I took more risks and allowed myself to be. I was in my fifth high school production as FDR in Annie, easiest role ever. I was in my sixth high school production as Mr. Spritzer in Hairspray. I stood up to my theater director. I auditioned and performed with the all Catholic choir, getting to perform at the Kimmel Center and getting to meet so many awesome people that I forced myself to break out of my shell. I had my first real relationship and first ever real love. This is a lot for 2012, by the way. They get longer and longer. In 2012, the year I turned 19, I was talking to a whole group of fellow students from other schools for a marching band performance event, and by the end of it was surprised to get a girl's phone number for the first time ever, written down on a piece of paper sent over to me by her friend before we left the event. I was in a relationship and was somehow made fun of by the band kids and my director. I was in my seventh high school production as Jacob Marley and extras in the Christmas Carol musical. I cheated on my girlfriend and after time learned more than ever through growth my worth and value, but not till years later. I almost quit my last senior year's show. I was in my eighth and final high school production as gym coach slash ensemble in Footloose and received my rose for performing in all 4 years, 8 shows of high school. I became a professional cantor. I formed a band that would eventually play big venues and be on radio and TV. During band practice one day, my sister got hit by a car. Thankfully, she is completely fine and well. I auditioned for my university and got in with a scholarship to be a BFA acting major at my university. I went to my university through the Gateway program and learned more about myself and what I needed to work on. I joined every club and activity I could do at university, especially acting and music. My longest relationship and the girl I loved broke up with me after a lot of abuse, pain, etc. My band recorded a professional EP at a studio, and I still have the CD to this day. I went back to perform at my high school with my band. I lost my virginity and decided to have fun throughout college. I had my first real big adult mental breakdown after I got into a car accident because I was stretching myself too thin with my schedule. In 2013, the year I turned 20, I applied to be a commuter assistant through one of my best friends. I didn't make it, but was hired because someone dropped. I became a gateway mentor of the same program I was in. I worked in my university's theater for a few years. I became the first mascot at my university and fell in love with mascotting. In 2014, the year I turned 21, I started growing my hair and made a deal that I would start donating it with one of my best friends. I became the head of Commuter Life, and yes, even someone who wasn't picked to originally do it became the head of it and did that for 2 years. In 2015, the year I turned 22, I got my first ever tattoo. I went and got spontaneous tattoos with a friend. I performed my first leading role as Gomez Florencia Adams in the Addams Family musical. I cut my hair for the show, so this was the first time I ever cut, donated, and sent my hair in. 2016, the year I turned 23. I went to the KCACTFs for the first and only time and had a fling with someone there who turned out to be engaged later on. I was finally finding myself and auditioned for a bunch of things and got offered a bunch of roles, but I had to make my decision for the season. I was in my first and only ever university show as a BFA acting major. I performed my college thesis that I was not proud of at all. I graduated college with my BFA in acting and minor in music. I decided to go work and live in Ohio to work and perform with Tecumseh, the outdoor drama, where I would learn horseback riding, more stage combat, how to shoot multiple different types of guns, and fight with fire. I was on the radio for Tecumseh as myself, a performing actor in the show. I played in my first tabletop D&D game ever as a Dragonborn barbarian slash fighter type. My entire life, I have never had someone throw me a party in any way, and I came back from Tecumseh to a welcome home party. I auditioned for my first haunted attraction, fell in love with it, and still continue to work professionally in it. I actually got to be on the radio for that too as a character. I worked my first real office job at a company because I wanted to be stable and safe. I had started my business to teach private lessons even though I had been teaching already. I was hired by Jurassic Park, Jurassic World, and Universal Studios to perform as Blue the Raptor in live performances. I performed in radio plays where I got to voice characters. I felt free to finally explore more of my kinks and sexual side. In 2017, the year I turned 24, I performed in an original new musical called Frankenstein Rocks as Igor. I performed in a production of Sabrina Fair as David. I performed in a production of Annie where all the crazy shit could have happened, and I went out as a million different characters and had to fill in as Rooster on stage on the last show, script in hand. Frankenstein Rocks, Sabrina Fair, and Annie were all at the same time, by the way. I stopped talking to certain family members because of toxicity and my well-being. 2018, the year I turned 25, I worked and performed as Bubby, the bison, at the Elmwood Park Zoo and diversified my connections and experience so much. I did so many amazing things as mascots. Was on live radio, performed at the Kimmel Center again, performed on live TV for events, games, etc. I've worked with the greatest mascots of all time like the Fanatic, Gritty, Swoop, etc. In 2019, the year I turned 26, I worked with a theater company that I will not name for now, where I was an actor and a casting director. I almost got to compose an entire new musical. I mascotted as many more characters such as Monty the Fox, Soul Man from the Philadelphia Soul, and Wally the Goose from Wawa. As a mascot, I got to meet so many amazing people in and out of the suit, like famous coaches, newscasters, announcers, radio stars, the Globetrotters, I can never pronounce this, Cirque du Soleil, etc. I truly started to deny work that wouldn't benefit me or pay me as much as my worth, because you should establish yourself and invest in yourself. I started conducting a student choir and taught music to pre-K through 8th grade students. 2020, the year I turned 27. I truly realized what makes me happy and what I need to pursue. I finally performed and edited videos I've dreamed of doing, like full band covers, an a cappella cover, etc. to my YouTube. I performed a staged reading of a new play that broke boundaries. I am in 6 tabletop campaigns right now. Yes, you heard me. I got to perform live again as a drummer. One of my campaigns is streaming and recording episodes on Twitch and YouTube as Nerds Next Door, and I am the editor. I set a goal to lose weight to get down to 180 in a year, and I did it in 8 months. I have new goals all around, and I'm continuing to astound myself. I will do what I want and not be afraid, because I can truly do anything I set my mind to. I definitely forget a ton of things, and some things are just better left for full video surprises. And by the way, I remember things as I was reading this, and I was like, might as well just make a video about it later. I say this all not to brag, but to build you up, future Jimmy, because if you're like me today, you need it. I hope things only go up from here because they better. Also, I wanted to say really fast, it's not written on the script, but I need to thank a few people. I need to thank first and foremost my mother. My mother has been the driving force for everything. I made a TikTok video about this. She has always believed in everything that I want and can do. So number one, I should also say that about my sister too. But mom, you always have to bring up your mom first. So my mom, my sister, and I have to thank, you know who you are, a lot of my close friends who I opened up a lot during 2020, especially during 2020. And I just wanted to say I'm truly grateful in everything that I do, and I'm not stopping here. The pandemic has stopped a few things, but I'm still here and I'm still doing whatever the fuck I want. So as always, I hope you guys enjoy this video. My name is James Joseph Edward Jesberger Jr., but please call me Jimmy for short, and I'll always see you guys in the next one. Peace.